Normally, if we want to inspect the engine coolant level, it's under the seat. As you can see, it is actually in a place where the tank has got to be lifted before you can do anything. So now we have removed the side plastics. This here is the draining bolt from where the engine coolant is going to come out. So we can inspect the rubber tubes of the circuit, plus you should also inspect your radiator and in general the whole system for any cracks. This is the radiator cap. It is important not to open it. Although the manual says open it first, it is important to open it last, after you have taken out the draining bolt. You do it my way, and first you take out the draining bolt and then the radiator cap, then you can lift whatever container you have. You can be ready, expect the liquid and not make a mess. As a precaution, we also use newspapers underneath, as I said. So now we are ready to take the draining bolt, this one, out. I have already put some gloves, some cloth to wipe out, and I have also put this newspaper here to protect some parts of the bike. So let's begin. As I mentioned previously, the radiator cap is still on. I haven't taken it off, although the manual says like that. It says so. The nut is 10. It is now open. As you can see, because I still have the radiator cap on, it's not coming out. I'm going to try and take the radiator cap off, and with the other hand I'm going to lift the container. I'm holding the container up and I am slowly opening the radiator cap, taking it out. Now I'm going to take the bike off the center stand to try and shake it so that the liquid, the engine coolant, comes out. So now I'm moving the bike like this. The reservoir, which still has some quantity of engine coolant inside, we are going to take it out so that we can remove this quantity, plus to wash it a bit. We need the wrench with, again, a 10 nut. I think it's only held by this screw or this bolt, to be more precise and correct. And I will try and drop it here. I will remove now these two hoses. This one does not have any safety, something to hold it. This one does. It has this that you press here and then you remove it. Tank, we have taken it out. We also drained it and put the engine coolant away, and we also washed it out with some distilled water, and now we will put it back. So we are now putting back the drainage bolt, but we will not tight it completely because maybe we will use it to bleed some air of the system. So our first job is to put it just a bit tight it with our hand, and then take our engine coolant and start to fill the radiator slowly. Slowly is important because we don't want to create bubbles inside or to put a lot of air inside. So we will start putting this. So now I'm moving the bike like this to help the air from the circuit to move around, and hopefully it will get to the top of the radiator. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start pressing the rubber tubes of the radiator, if they have some air, to also move around. So now that we have filled our main radiator up to the top, we will handshake the bike around so that the air bubbles come out. Now we will fill to the full level our reservoir. Okay, we have temporarily put the gas tank back so that we will start the engine in order for the circuit to circulate the engine coolant around so that the air comes out. The radiator cap is not put yet for this reason, so that when the engine starts the air will come out. So we will start the engine for about 20-30 seconds. Being on a small ride with a bike, as I said, it is very important to take the bike for a small ride, some minutes, because no matter how open you leave the radiator cap or how much you squeeze the tubes of the radiator system, or even if you tap the thermostat like I showed you, the air will not go out completely, and it is important to take the bike for a ride so that the engine coolant circulates inside the cooling system. And in fact we can see now that it has worked. What I'm showing now is the reservoir container, the plastic one. Although before the ride the level was full, it was in the upper line here, it is now obvious that it has dropped below the lower level. That means it was successful. So now we have to fill this reservoir container again to the full level and repeat this procedure. Open or remove the radiator cap here, so that if any remaining air is inside the system, it will go out, or if our engine coolant is too much, it will drop down. Then we will start our bike, the engine, for a few seconds and maybe squeeze the rubber tubes of the radiator, the cooling system, and I will show you, you need to tap a bit the thermostat. So we start the engine now. So now we will squeeze a bit the radiator tubes. We gently squeeze the tube with our two fingers, just a bit. And I will show you now the thermostat, where to hit. The thermostat is this round thing. You just tap it gently with your finger, like so. You tap the thermostat if it has some air bubbles inside, so that these are removed. Fill up to the full level the reservoir plastic tank. So we use our funnel and the engine coolant, pouring it slowly. After we have changed and replaced the engine coolant, collect the old one into even refreshment bottles and dispose it appropriately to your nearest gas station. After replacing our engine coolant, a good thing would be to take a needle, the one that for sewing, and go to the fins of the radiator, and if you've got patience, try and remove the bigger garbage that you find on the fins. For instance, bugs. You just go to the places where you see the bigger bugs or the biggest dirt, and gently with a needle try and remove them.